Yeah, so exactly. So now I can do door hangers, all right? So Lee talked about door hangers, and I can put door hangers out and do that kind of thing. But if I'm going out doing door hangers, it's just the equivalent of a postcard, really. Now, I don't know about you, but I was trying to recall, I got a door hanger. Excuse me, I almost threw up on you.
You got water? You need water?
Oh, all right, I don't know what just happened. It hurt, though. All right, sorry. Whew. God, I hope I feel better. I'm going to the Dodger game tonight. I want to eat hot dogs. All right. So the bottom line is that I got a door hanger, and I went in, and I don't know about you, but I put door hangers in the same pile as I put junk mail. I mean, I look at it, and just because I'm interested in marketing, I might look at it a little longer than most people would look at it, but it ends up going in the same place. Some of this stuff is really so good. I've never ever called on one, but some of this stuff is so good that I actually wait a day or two before I throw it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I kind of like it. And for a minute I said, well, maybe that's so good, I should try it. And then after I come out of the ether, I realize that I just throw it away. Then we can do door knocking. Now, door knocking is really, really something that I have mixed feelings about. In fact, I'm going to tell you that this is a strategy that if you're going to do anything, you might want to try this as long as you do it with some sort of precision. Okay? We're going to come back and talk about it. But if your door knocking strategy is really about just canvassing an area and just knocking on every door, I'm going to find that it's not, you might as well pick up the phone and do cold calling. You might as well do direct mail. Now, there is a benefit to door knocking that nobody talks about, and there's a benefit to door knocking that you probably can't get doing anything else, and that is I find that my Apple Watch will give me a lot more burned calories if I'm door knocking than if I'm just doing mailing. Okay? Now, I'm not picking on door knocking. I'm going to tell you that I like door knocking. I like door knocking as a strategy. I just want it to be precise, and we're going to talk a little more about that. Now, if you knew that if you went knocking on a door that there was a very high probability that the person who came to the door was going to respond and engage, that is a place that you want to go door knocking on, true or false?
Right, true.
Okay? But random door knocking, I'm not a fan of. Okay? Then there's websites. This is the new age. Remember, we are in the information age. We're in the new age of marketing. We're trying to, and so we're going to internet. I've actually tried. I'm a big internet guy. I probably spend $10,000 a month in marketing of different things. I'm not, and I use the internet as one of the tools. But but again, I find the conversion process is expensive. I have to hire 2 full-time people. I have 2 full-time people right now who do nothing but try to convert internet leads. And I got to tell you, I really wonder what the heck I'm doing some days. Okay? I mean, it's really hard. I mean, this is one of those things that on paper that really looks good. And you get, and I get 4, 5, 6, 7 leads a day. But again, converting those leads is a long, drawn-out process. And the challenge with internet leads and generated leads from the internet, it's not that they're not good leads. The problem is seller leads on average take 9 months to convert, and buyer leads take 21 months to convert. So that's the problem with the internet leads. They're not now buyers. Now I work in them and I fill a pipeline, and I've got 2,500 potential buyers and sellers in my database as a result of internet marketing. And I've got to tell you, our whole mission plan in my office is how do we identify the 5% of those that are active and ready to do something in the next 0 to 3 months. And as easy as that sounds to talk about, it's not as easy to execute. Okay? And so that's the challenge. Now, my attitude is I'm going to need that deal in 9 months too. I'm going to need that deal in 21 months. So I've had to take a much longer term view of these prospects. And none of you are here because you need a deal in 9 months or 21 months. You're here because you want a deal now. True or false? So you got to start with identifying the best prospects. So this is about 50-50 investors to realtors. So from a, whether or not if you're a realtor, you look at the data list, and Lee started talking about it. There are some data triggers that we know about that are identifying people. So here's the problem. So we look out into the horizon. We're in Pasadena. So if we were just going to look at a 5-mile radius of here, there might be 20,000 houses, right? So we look into the horizon of 20,000 houses that are around us, and the trick is which ones are more likely to do a transaction now. So I can't really look at the house. I mean, there are some overgrown yard and boarded up. That might be an indicator. But for the most part, we can't really look at the properties in order to see that they're going to do a transaction. So there are some triggers, some data triggers that I can look at. And this is, you hear guys, the big data. You hear the term big data. Well, this is what they're talking about. So I know that if they're getting married, that there's a probability that they're going to do a real estate transaction. Not a guarantee, but there's a reasonably good probability, true or false. All right. I know if there's a divorce, there's probably going to be a real estate transaction. I like divorces because, we're selling one house and we're buying two oftentimes. I like marriages because that's the opposite. You're selling two houses and you're buying one. At least that's what it looks like on paper. I know it's never like that, but that's what it looks like on paper. You can look at that. You can look at death would be an indicator if there's going to be some transaction, because that would be in the.
This has been a
category.
Production of Perfect Blue Studios.
And we can go on and on and on, and we can expired listings, for sale by owners, withdrawn listings, canceled listings. Those are all, and you hear what realtors talk about. They've got these whole expired campaigns and for sale by owner campaigns. For sale by owners are really, I have a big for sale by owner campaign in my office. I love them because I know that, I don't know the exact number, but somewhere 70-80% of for sale by owners end up listing with a realtor over the next, the first 30 to 45 days of trying to sell their house themselves. I like those. Okay? And so I've created a whole conversion program for sale by owners that start by giving free services. That'll be another seminar we do just for realtors at some point. But the idea here, but if I want now business, this is where I go. Notice a default. Notice a trustee sale. Okay? And I put probate on there, but we don't have time to talk about probate. So when I look at, now why do I like, and of these three areas, notice a trustee sale is by far my favorite. Can anybody tell me why?
We don't have much time.
Yeah, because in the state of California, if they have an NOTS, their timeline is 0 to 21 days. Right?
Wow.
So there's a lot of pressure to do something. Now, obviously, people can get postponements, and that buys them more time, and sometimes they're on. But for the most part, they're in a 0 to 20 or 1 to 21 day time frame. So the reason I like NOTS, okay, is because I know that there's a reasonably high probability, okay, that they're going to have to take some action, okay, and there's a extra high probability that they're going to at least want to have a conversation with me about that, and I can get face to face with them. How many would agree with that? Okay, so this is why my focus, on these kind of transactions. So remember, I told you got to beat realtors to the deal, right? So, and one of the things that I like about this area for you realtors, and when I say beat realtors, what I mean is beat other realtors to the deal, and beat investors to the deal. And in this time frame, what you would see is that if I were to go to your local board and we were to poll all the realtors about what their feelings were about doing short sales and distressed transactions, I would say that 80% of them would tell you they don't want anything to do with them. True or false? Okay? So what that means is that there's a lot less competition in this distressed arena too. Would you agree with that? And so the term that Lee used in his presentation was go where they ain't. And so one of the reasons that I like this space is because the realtors aren't, for the most part, there are exceptions, and many of you are exceptions that are in this room. For the most part, they're avoiding this area because they, and the only reason they would avoid this area is that they lack the expertise in order to address the special conditions that are affiliated with distressed properties. But that's where I come in. That's where we come in. This is why I wanted Caliber to be here and why I wanted Home Loan Advocates to be here, is because these are part of my team, and by by merit of you being part of my team, they are an extension of you. So when you, and those of you that are working with us, how many HLA Caliber Escrow clients in here? Let me see, just show hands. Okay. So by merit of you working with us, you already know that we are an extension. We're just as important as your transaction coordinator on a deal. So when you get a deal, you're calling us, and we're going in there and we're helping pull the deal together. In fact, I'm going to have a conversation with the Olsons here, after, because they've got a special deal, and we're going to, I don't even know what the deal is other than it's complicated, and we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to use our combined resources to see if we can pull that deal together. All right, so my team is your team is what I'm here to say. So whether or not it's a short sale, or you need a foreclosure stopped, or you got a kinky deal that needs escrow services, whatever the case may be, we're going to be, now kinky and illegal aren't the same. Let me just be clear about that. It may not be normal, but it's still got to be legal. Okay. So we're going to beat realtors to the deal. So I like fishing in this pond because there's not as many. I don't have 3,000. If I work at expired, it's so funny because I'm a listing agent. So and I renew agreements. Sometimes they expire. Once in a while that happens. And they laugh at me and say, "Can you go ahead? You didn't update the listing. I've got 30 phone calls from other realtors in one day. A listing expires. They're talking about 20, 30 phone calls in one day. I don't want to compete there. I don't work expired listings, okay? Because there's too much competition. I'd rather go spend my time here. Highest and best use of my time. And so this is whatever there might be 3,000 agents in your marketplace. Now, this is the exception. This is my idol right here. All right, anybody know this guy? All right? Hashtag ninja in a blazer. You got to love that, all right? I wonder if I could use that, all right? So, he's just not another realtor. He's a man who cares. And when we start talking, I'm going to talk to you about the advocate marketing system. What Lee calls Honish. I've relabeled it under license with Lee and called it advocate marketing system for my purposes. And what Phil Dunphy represents, not another realtor, but a man who cares. An advocate marketing system is really it's not just being about buying or selling your house. It's about taking the time to understand what your objectives are and advocating for you in order to help you achieve that objective. Okay, and we'll talk more about that. And so this is what we're talking about, advocate marketing system. And so let me just roll out the system for you, and then I'm going to show you how to get more deals. You guys ready? Yes. Number one, advocate marketing system is you got to start. There's a couple things you got to do. You got to get a call center. Okay, Lee was picking on you guys. Get a call center. Now, the reason that you want to get a call center is that the number one rule of real estate. Answer the phone. Okay, and some of you guys suck at answering the phone. Okay, you just don't answer the phone because you can't discern a phone. Listen, I have Google Voice. I have all kinds of things. I get an unknown number, and there's about an 80% chance that I'm not going to answer that call. Okay, until I put your name in my phone. Okay, there's an 80% likelihood that I'm not going to answer your phone. How many of you are like that? Okay, and then they leave. They don't leave a message. Okay, so the bottom line is that you've got to get it. Now I've got 4 people out doing this on a fairly full-time basis, and my call center bill has never been more than $100. It typically runs $60, $70, $80 a month. Now, how many of you would pay $60, $70, $80 a month to never miss a call from a hot prospect? Okay, you've got to get a call center. All right. Next thing you've got to do is you've got to customize your labels. Okay, so we use these labels. How many of you are familiar with this labeling system? Okay, how many of you are already on the Monster? Already on a Monster user? Okay, so you're using this label. Now, Lee's created a number of different labels. This is my favorite. Now, can anybody tell you why this is my favorite? Because it looks like what?
FedEx.
FedEx. But is it FedEx?
No.
No. But it feels like FedEx. It's got that FedEx colors on it. And I don't think we're allowed to refer to it as the FedEx label, but I refer to it as the FedEx label. We're not allowed to. So sometimes we occasionally refer to this as the FedEx label.
Maybe it's
the X model.